Start with this truth. Your life is not stuck because you are broken. It is stuck because your daily structure has been too weak to carry the future you want. That is not an insult. It is an invitation. It means change is possible. It means you do not need a miracle first. You need a better system. You need 5 pillars that can hold your mind when doubt is loud, hold your habits when motivation is gone, and hold your future when progress feels slow. A productive life is not built by accident. It is built by design. It is built when a person decides that random effort is no longer enough. It is built when you stop confusing busyness with progress and start asking whether your days are actually moving you forward. If you have been frustrated by delay, self-doubt, inconsistency, or the feeling that you keep starting over, listen closely. You are not too late. You are not too far behind. You are not finished. You are simply ready for a stronger way to live. The 5 pillars are clarity, discipline, focus, consistency, and resilience. Simple words. Strong words. Life-changing words when they are practiced with honesty. Clarity tells you where to go. Discipline tells you how to keep moving. Focus tells you what matters right now. Consistency tells you to return tomorrow. Resilience tells you how to rise when life pushes back. These 5 pillars are not magic, but they are powerful because they work with the reality of human life. They respect that you get tired. They respect that you face pressure. They respect that some days feel heavy. They do not ask you to become perfect. They ask you to become reliable. And reliability is one of the most valuable traits a person can build. The first pillar is clarity. Without clarity, even hard work can go in circles. You can wake up early, stay busy all day, and still feel like nothing meaningful is changing. That happens when your energy has no direction. Clarity is the answer. It is the decision to define what matters before the day starts asking for your attention. It is the choice to stop living on autopilot. Ask yourself what you are actually building. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to become. Ask yourself what success means for your life, not someone else's life. Clarity is not about having every answer. It is about having enough truth to begin. When you are clear, you stop letting every distraction make decisions for you. You become more intentional. You stop chasing 10 goals at once and start honoring the few that truly matter. Clarity makes life simpler, not because life becomes easier, but because your mind stops fighting itself. When you know your direction, you waste less energy on confusion. You stop thinking about every path and start walking one path with purpose. That is where productivity begins. Not in frantic motion, in honest direction. If your days have felt scattered, the first repair is clarity. Sit with your life. Remove the noise. Write down the 1 or 2 things that would actually make a difference if you did them well. Be honest. Be simple. Be real. Many people avoid clarity because clarity exposes waste. It shows you what is draining your future. But that exposure is a gift. It gives you the power to choose differently. A clear mind can build. A confused mind can only spin. So choose clarity, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Clarity may tell you to stop some habits, leave some distractions, or admit some hard truths. Good. That is how your life gets stronger. The second pillar is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your intentions and your results. Without it, you have dreams. With it, you have movement. Discipline is not about being perfect every day. It is about showing up when it would be easier to skip. It is about doing the next responsible thing before your emotions have finished negotiating. People often think discipline is harsh, but real discipline is care. It is how you protect the future version of yourself from the chaos of the present mood. Discipline says your feelings are real, but they are not always in charge. You can feel tired and still complete the task. You can feel nervous and still make the call. You can feel unmotivated and still take the step. That ability is powerful because it turns a fragile life into a dependable one. The disciplined person does not wait for perfect energy. They build momentum through action. They do what matters before the mind has time to protest too loudly. Then, over time, their life begins to respond. The work gets easier because repetition creates skill. The fear gets smaller because action creates evidence. The self-doubt weakens because follow-through creates trust. Discipline is not one giant dramatic decision. It is many small decisions that repeat until they become your default. Wake up when you said you would. Start the task when you planned to start. Finish what you began. Protect your boundaries. Keep your word. These little acts matter more than people realize. They build a life that can be counted on. And when your life can be counted on, your confidence rises naturally. You stop feeling like a person who hopes to change and start becoming a person who knows how to follow through. That is a serious shift. It changes the way you speak, the way you move, and the way you handle pressure. Discipline does not remove struggle, but it gives you strength inside the struggle. It gives you a spine, and a spine is what keeps your life upright. The third pillar is focus. Focus is the skill of giving your attention to what matters most and refusing to give it away too cheaply. In a world full of noise, focus has become one of the rarest forms of power. Everyone is competing for your attention. Apps want it. Notifications want it. Worries want it. Other people's opinions want it. Old regrets want it. Future fears want it. If you do not guard your attention, your life will slowly become a scattered collection of reactions. Focus is how you fight back. It is how you tell the world, and tell yourself, that your energy is valuable. A focused person does not try to do everything. They choose what matters now. They work with depth instead of panic. They stay present with the task in front of them. They understand that trying to be everywhere at once usually means going nowhere deeply. Focus makes your work sharper. It makes your thinking clearer. It makes your progress more visible. When you focus, you stop feeding the lie that multitasking is the same as productivity. It is not. Productivity is not how busy you look. It is how much meaningful work you complete. Focus also protects your peace. When your attention is everywhere, your mind becomes noisy and tired. When your attention is directed, your mind becomes calmer and stronger. So create boundaries. Put the phone away when you need to work. Close the extra tabs. Say no to interruptions that do not deserve you. Choose one task. Choose one season. Choose one target. Then give that target your full presence. You will be amazed at how much more gets done when your mind is not split in 10 directions. Focus turns ordinary effort into powerful progress. It is not loud, but it is effective. It makes your work deeper, your habits cleaner, and your life more intentional. If clarity tells you where to go, focus tells you where to look right now. And where you look decides what grows. The fourth pillar is consistency. This is where many people struggle because consistency is not exciting at first. It does not usually feel like a breakthrough while you are doing it. It feels repetitive. It feels ordinary. Sometimes it even feels boring. But consistency is one of the greatest builders of a strong life because it turns effort into identity. 1 good day is nice. 10 good days are better. 100 repeated days can transform a life. Consistency says, I will return. I will continue. I will not let one bad mood erase what I started. I will not let one missed day become a missed season. I will not abandon my future because progress feels slow. The power of consistency is that it creates evidence. Every time you keep going, you prove to yourself that you are not as unstable as your fear said. You become more trustworthy in your own eyes. That matters more than most people realize. A person who trusts themselves moves with more calm. They do not panic as quickly. They do not need to restart from zero every time life is inconvenient. They already have a rhythm. They already have a pattern of returning. That return is everything. Consistency is not about never slipping. It is about refusing to stay down when you slip. It is about choosing to correct instead of collapse. It is about understanding that progress is often hidden inside repetition. You may not see dramatic change in a day, but over time your habits begin to change your character. The small, repeated choices start becoming part of who you are. The healthy morning, the focused hour, the workout, the study session, the saved money, the honest conversation, the finished task, the early bedtime, the clean space, the repeated return to what matters. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary results. They do not rely on one emotional high. They rely on a stable pattern. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum makes hard things easier to carry. It teaches your mind that discipline is normal now. It teaches your body that action is safer than avoidance. It teaches your future that you are serious. That is why consistency is so powerful. It quietly turns intention into reality. The fifth pillar is resilience. Life will test you. It is not a question of if. It is a question of when. There will be setbacks. There will be delays. There will be moments when things do not work the way you hoped. There will be seasons when effort feels invisible and progress feels far away. Resilience is what keeps you alive inside those seasons. It is the ability to bend without breaking. It is the strength to recover after disappointment. It is the mindset that says, this hurts, but I am not finished. Resilience does not mean you never feel pain. It means pain does not get the final word. It means failure is information, not a prison. It means rejection is a redirection, not a verdict on your worth. A resilient person learns to use pressure instead of being crushed by it. They let difficulty teach them where they need to grow. They let failure reveal what needs adjustment. They let slow seasons develop patience. They let hard moments deepen their character. That is a powerful way to live because it makes you harder to destroy. You no longer see every obstacle as proof that you should quit. You see it as part of the training. You understand that every strong life has been tested. Every person you admire has probably had to survive more than they ever showed publicly. The difference is not that they avoided pain. The difference is that they did not let pain stop them. Resilience grows when you keep standing back up. It grows when you recover faster. It grows when you stay committed after disappointment. It grows when you stop identifying with your worst moment. If you can do that, you become dangerous to mediocrity. Because mediocrity depends on people giving up too soon. Resilience breaks that pattern. It says I can take a hit and still keep moving. I can feel discouraged and still work. I can fail and still grow. That kind of strength is not born in comfort. It is built in struggle. And once built, it becomes one of the most valuable assets your life can have. These 5 pillars work together. Clarity gives your life direction. Discipline gives your life structure. Focus gives your life power. Consistency gives your life momentum. Resilience gives your life endurance. Remove one pillar, and the whole structure becomes weaker. Keep all 5 strong, and your life begins to stabilize in a way that feels deeply different. You stop relying on random motivation. You stop living in chaos. You stop feeling like every week is a reset. Instead, you begin to build a life you can trust. This is the real goal of productivity. Not to become busy. Not to look impressive. Not to overwhelm yourself with tasks. The goal is to become effective, reliable, and aligned. A productive life is not a frantic life. It is a purposeful life. It is a life where your actions match your values. It is a life where you know what matters and you act accordingly. That kind of life makes room for peace. It makes room for growth. It makes room for confidence that is based on evidence, not fantasy. Maybe you have been feeling behind lately. Maybe you have been comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. Maybe you have been ashamed of how many times you started and stopped. If so, do not turn that pain into proof that you cannot change. Use it as a signal. It is showing you that your current structure is not strong enough for the future you want. That is fixable. Start where you are. Choose one pillar to strengthen first. If you lack clarity, write down your real priorities. If you lack discipline, commit to one non-negotiable habit. If you lack focus, remove one major distraction. If you lack consistency, build a small daily routine you can actually keep. If you lack resilience, change how you speak after setbacks. Do not try to fix everything in one day. Build what you can hold. Then build more. Productive lives are created through repeated care. One honest action at a time. One corrected habit at a time. One stronger morning at a time. And every time you return, you become a little more powerful. Your life does not need perfection to become productive. It needs structure. It needs attention. It needs courage. It needs repetition. It needs a person who is willing to stay in the work long enough for the work to start changing them. Here is the deeper truth. Productivity is not just about doing more. It is about becoming someone whose life is no longer ruled by confusion, delay, and self-sabotage. That is why the 5 pillars matter so much. They do not just help you manage tasks. They help you become steady. They help you become clear. They help you become trustworthy. They help you become the kind of person who can build something meaningful and keep it standing. And that kind of person does not appear overnight. It is built slowly through intentional repetition, through hard mornings, through focused afternoons, through honest evenings, through days when you were tempted to quit but chose to continue, through moments when you were tempted to be careless but chose to be disciplined, through times when you were tempted to drift but chose to return. That is the real work. It may not look glamorous, but it is changing your life more than you know. Think of your life like a structure. If the foundation is weak, everything above it shakes. If the pillars are strong, the whole structure can hold more weight. Right now, you have the chance to reinforce your foundation. You have the chance to stop living at the mercy of mood and start living with purpose. You have the chance to make your future easier by becoming stronger now. That is not a small opportunity. It is a serious one, and it begins with choices so ordinary that many people overlook them. Write the plan, follow the plan, repeat the plan, protect the plan, learn from the plan, adjust the plan, stay with the plan. That is how real progress happens. And when the pressure rises, do not interpret it as a sign that you are failing. Interpret it as proof that you are building something worth testing. Pressure reveals the strength of the structure. It also reveals where more work is needed. That is useful. It is information. Use it. The productive life is not built by people who never struggle. It is built by people who keep responding well to struggle. People who keep improving. People who keep returning. People who understand that slow progress is still progress when it is consistent. People who know that the 5 pillars are not just ideas to admire, but habits to practice. Clarity, discipline, focus, consistency, resilience. Let those words become actions. Let those actions become routine. Let those routines become identity. And let that identity become the life you have been trying to reach. You do not need a perfect start. You need a serious one. You do not need a flawless week. You need a faithful one. You do not need to prove everything today. You need to begin building a life that can prove itself over time. That is the real power of productivity. It turns your days into direction and your direction into destiny. So start now. Choose one pillar. Strengthen it today. Then return tomorrow and strengthen it again. Keep doing that, and little by little, your life will stop feeling random and start feeling built. That is when peace comes. That is when confidence grows. That is when results begin to appear. Not because you became perfect, but because you became consistent. And consistency, supported by clarity, discipline, focus, and resilience, is strong enough to carry the future you want. Keep going. Your productive life is not waiting somewhere far away. It begins with the next honest choice you make. When you think about productivity, do not reduce it to hustle alone. Hustle can burn fast. Productivity is wiser than hustle. Productivity means you use your energy on purpose. It means you are not busy just to feel important. It means your time is serving your values, not draining them. That begins with the way you start the day. The first hour matters more than most people admit. A careless morning often leads to a scattered afternoon. A scattered afternoon often leads to a disappointed evening. But a focused morning can change the whole shape of the day. You do not need a perfect morning routine. You need a consistent one. Wake up with intention. Do not hand your first thoughts to distraction. Give them to clarity. Give them to your plan. Give them to your breathing. Give them to your purpose. Even 5 quiet minutes can help reset the mind before the world starts asking for your attention. And when the day begins well, the rest of the day has a better chance. Your environment also matters more than many people think. If your surroundings are full of chaos, your mind will work harder to stay clear. If your desk is messy, your thoughts often feel messy too. If your phone is always within reach, your focus will be pulled in many directions. A productive life is easier to build when the environment supports the habits you want. That does not mean waiting for a perfect house, perfect job, or perfect schedule. It means making simple improvements where you can. Clear the space you work in. Put useful things where you can see them. Remove some obvious distractions. Keep reminders of your goals in sight. Make the good choice easier. That is not weakness. That is strategy. Strong people do not rely on willpower alone. They design a life that helps them win. This is especially important when you are tired. Tired people do not need more guilt. They need better systems. Another powerful part of a productive life is emotional control. Not suppression. Control. There is a difference. You do not need to deny your feelings, and you do not need to obey every feeling either. Feelings are real, but they are not always reliable guides. Some days you will feel discouraged, even when nothing has truly gone wrong. Some days you will feel behind simply because your comparison has been loud. Some days you will feel unmotivated because you are tired, not because your life is hopeless. A productive person learns to check the emotion before letting it become a decision. They ask, what is true? What is useful? What can I do next? That habit protects you from unnecessary damage. It keeps one rough moment from becoming a rough week. It keeps a temporary feeling from writing a permanent story. Emotional control is not coldness. It is maturity. It is the ability to stay useful while emotions move through you. That kind of maturity is rare, and it makes life much more manageable. You also need to respect your energy. Not every hour has the same value. Not every task deserves your best focus. Learn to place important work in the hours when your mind is clearest. Learn to give deep work the best part of your attention. Learn to rest before exhaustion turns into carelessness. Productivity is not about squeezing every drop out of yourself. It is about using your energy wisely so your life can keep growing. A person who respects energy knows the difference between lazy rest and smart recovery. They know that rest is part of the process, not a betrayal of it. They do not punish themselves into burnout. They recover with intention so they can return stronger. That balance matters. If you constantly push without pause, you will eventually lose your edge. If you constantly pause without action, you will never build momentum. Wisdom lives in the balance. And when you fail, do not waste your failure. Learn from it quickly. The longer you stare at a mistake without extracting the lesson, the heavier it becomes. Failure can teach you what to adjust, what to remove, what to strengthen, and what to stop repeating. That lesson is valuable. A productive person does not worship failure, but they do not fear it so much that they avoid trying. They use it. They shorten the emotional drama and lengthen the learning. They ask, what happened? Why did it happen? And what will I do now? That is the kind of thinking that leads to growth. Every setback can either become a story that weakens you or a lesson that strengthens you. Choose the lesson. It keeps you moving. There is another truth that many people need to hear. You are not lazy just because you are overwhelmed. Sometimes overwhelm is a sign that your life has too many loose ends and not enough structure. That can be fixed. You do not need to shame yourself into productivity. Shame may create a short burst of movement, but it does not create sustainable change. Clarity and structure do that. Compassion and discipline do that. Honest boundaries do that. If your life has felt heavy, start removing the weight that does not belong to you. Clear unnecessary commitments. Simplify your decisions. Reduce the noise. Build a smaller, steadier, more realistic system. Small systems are easier to keep than huge ambitions with no structure behind them. And once a small system is working, you can build from there. A productive life also grows stronger when you stop waiting to feel inspired before taking action. Inspiration is a gift, but it is not a schedule. It comes and goes. If you depend on it, you will live unpredictably. If you build around it, you will use it well when it appears, but you will not be trapped when it disappears. Start anyway. Start while imperfect. Start while unsure. Start while you are still learning. The beginning will rarely feel as clean as your imagination wants it to feel. That is normal. Real life is messy at the start. What matters is that you keep moving through the mess until it starts to make sense. Every expert was once awkward. Every strong habit once felt forced. Every meaningful change once looked small and uncertain. Do not despise the beginning. It is where momentum is born. The same is true for confidence. Confidence does not arrive before action in full measure. It builds through proof. You do the thing, survive the thing, learn from the thing, and then the mind starts trusting you more. That trust becomes confidence. So stop asking for confidence to rescue you. Ask for the courage to act, and let confidence grow behind it. Courage comes first more often than people realize. It is the first step into a stronger identity. It is the decision that your fear will not get to shape your life alone. And every time you act courageously, even in small ways, you teach yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Your productive life will also depend on how you speak to yourself. Your inner voice can either be a coach or a critic. A coach is honest but supportive. A critic is harsh but rarely helpful. If your inner voice has become cruel, it will drain your energy before you even begin. Change the language. Say, this is hard, but I can work through it. Say, I am not finished, I am improving. Say, I slipped, but I can recover. Say, I do not need to be perfect to be valuable. These words are not excuses when they are backed by action. They are tools. They help you stay in the game long enough to grow. The goal is not to praise yourself blindly. The goal is to speak in a way that strengthens your effort rather than sabotaging it. There is also something powerful about having a weekly review. Set aside time to look honestly at your life. What worked this week? What did not? Where did you lose focus? Where did you stay disciplined? What tasks kept getting delayed? What habits helped your energy? This kind of review keeps your life from drifting. It creates awareness before the same mistake repeats for another month. The productive person does not just react to life as it happens. They reflect. They learn. They adjust. That makes growth faster and cleaner. You do not need a complicated system. You need a consistent one. Review, refine, repeat. And remember that the people who seem productive every day are not always more gifted than you. Often they are simply more organized, more intentional, and more willing to protect what matters. That means you can become more productive too.